right. Aloha. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this lovely Saturday for the AARP Aging in Place Conference. My name is Belia Pau, and I am a professional organizer. I have been doing professional organizing for about 5 years now. Yeah. I moved to Maui in 1998 to attend UHMC's Culinary Arts program. I was very excited to become a chef. I joined the American Culinary Federation's junior competition team so that I can compete in culinary competitions. We proudly won bronze, silver, and gold medals for not only the state of Hawaii, but also the Western Division of the United States. Thank you. Being on a competing team requires a lot of organization. And little did I know that that was going to be a very good base for me to become a more organized person, not only in the kitchen, but in all aspects of my life. When I was a little girl, I did not play with dolls. I played office. I loved lining up all the pencils and all the pens by color and all the Post-it notes by color and the pads by size, waiting for my customer, whoever that was going to be, to come in and see my beautiful office that I had created. In 2019, my grandmother passed away. Oh, I'm sorry, skipped. I also had a catering company, which requires a lot of organization to cook all the food, pack up all the food, take it to your event site, unload all the food, and still keep it safe and tasting delicious. In 2019, my grandmother passed away. She lived in the house that my grandfather had built for her 40 years prior, and she had a lot of stuff. My mom is one of 7 siblings, and sadly, we're not a family that really all gets along with each other, as that can be the case in some families. So I'm the niece that everybody loves. So I had to step in and kind of take control of the situation when all of my aunts and uncles, as well as the whole family, was in a very, very tough time of our lives. So I managed to break down the house, assign everybody tasks and projects, and sadly, we did have to sell that house. What I thought about during that time was, what do other families do that have people that don't get along with each other? So I saw the need to come in and help families at such a horrible time of their lives. I was in the mainland for about 4 months doing this. When I came home, my in-laws, who had lived in their home for 40 years in Kihei, decided that they were going to move to the mainland. I had a handicapped brother-in-law that they were caretakers for and had cared for his whole life. And my mother-in-law had just been diagnosed with Lewy body dementia. They had never been to Arizona, but they did not feel that they could afford to continue to live here in Maui when my father-in-law retired. My father-in-law was a laborer his whole life and not involved in household management at all. That was her job. But being that she now was in her having these cognitive issues, it was not easy for her to make decisions on what was staying or what was going. So my father-in-law said, let's pack it all. So we packed it all. The broken stuff, the rotten stuff, the bad stuff, the things that needed to be replaced. They wanted it all. So $20,000 later, we arrive in Phoenix, Arizona. And sadly, 2.5 years after that, we lost my brother-in-law. We then needed to move my in-laws closer to some family in the mainland, which was in California. So we then rented a 10-foot U-Haul for $300 and moved them from Arizona to California, which now is at an 85% downsize from when they left Maui. So as you can imagine, it's a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of headache, and a lot of grief to have gone through that process. So decluttering is not always fun, right? It brings about a lot of fear and apprehension to be going through your things. It's our whole lives' possessions that we have to look at. The good, the bad, but memories of everything that we've done throughout our whole life that meant something to us because we kept it for a reason, right? But it's just stuff, sadly. And the value that we feel in that is what we have in our minds and our hearts. Our mind is telling us that it's a part of us, but the truth is, it's just a material object. So, depending on how much space you have, this could be your dream, right? They say that we spend 2/3 of our life collecting things and 1/3 of our life getting rid of it. So what we're going to cover in this presentation today is the benefits of downsizing, how to get started with downsizing, some tips on how to downsize, and give you some scenarios of possible things that are going to happen as we get older and we need to have some assistance in our lives. What are some benefits to downsizing? Anyone? Freedom. Absolutely. More space. Easier to clean. Absolutely. So downsizing allows you some freedom. Less stuff means more room for doing things that take up your time cleaning your house, right? You can exercise, you can read, you can socialize. How many of you have ever used the excuse of not going to do something because you got to deal with your stuff? Okay. Clear your stuff and find your door. There is a lot of satisfaction and accomplishment when you downsize your things. It promotes better mental health. Clear spaces feel good. How good does it feel when you walk into a hotel room? Why does that feel good to you? No clutter. Exactly. Everything you need, right? No clutter. It feels good. Simplifies your daily routine. Less time spent cleaning. Less time maintaining your possessions, the dusting, the moving everything for you to vacuum, for you to mop, for you to sweep, whatever it is that you involves in your house cleaning, less stuff you have, the easier it is. Promotes well-being, you know, saving you time, saving you energy. How would it feel if you didn't have to get up and organize something, clean something, move your stuff? It would feel good. There's a gentleman that I follow. His name is Joshua Becker, and he is a minimalist, which means he doesn't have much. Only the essential items that you need in your home. And he started this journey with his 2 teenage children and his wife about 12 years ago. And once they became minimalists and they downsized their home with only their essential items, he was bored because he didn't have projects anymore. And the guy is in excellent shape. And after I heard his story, it was because once he didn't have projects anymore, he got a gym membership. I started working out, and now he's in excellent shape. Downsizing gives you the opportunity to reminisce and say goodbye to the items that you've kept as well. So, how do you get started? How many have you lived in your home for at least 20 years? It's a lot. 30, 40, some even 50? Yeah. I bet you've accumulated a lot of stuff. I bet you have things that don't belong to you, that belong to other family members who moved to the mainland and didn't want to ship it, but you're holding on to that, holding on to it for them, right? Sometimes loved ones pass away and we inherit their items, but it's too emotional for us to go through them. So they just continue to stay as storage. You're storing them. And then sometimes you have your son's car in the yard. It's very important to create a timeline, set some goals, mark your calendars, create deadlines. You have to break the house down into smaller pieces. You cannot look at the project all at one time. It is overwhelming. I often have clients that I go to their home, I do their consultation with them, and we're going to do their closet. And we go through everything that's going to happen, how long it's going to take, what containment they might need, new hangers, etc. And then I arrive and they say, we're going to do the garage. Completely different animals, okay? Why do they now want to do the garage? Does anybody have any idea why that changes? Can you say it? There's emotional attachment in the area. That's almost with every single space in your home. But what they think about is that there's things in the closet that they now want to store in the garage because we're just going to shift some things, really, right? And the garage is a mess. So let's do the garage first because then we can do my closet, right? The garage, if it is filled with a lot of stuff, is not going to make a difference in your daily life for you to organize that garage. What is going to make a difference in their daily life is organizing that closet that they're getting into. And hopefully they're living out of their closet, using their clothes and their shoes out of that closet. It's not just the storage area. But breaking things down into smaller pieces, dresser by dresser, drawer by drawer, room by room, setting deadlines. By Friday, I'll declutter the junk drawer in the kitchen. But by the end of September, I'm going to do the whole kitchen, setting small goals, breaking it down. The first thing that we want to do is we want to sort. What are we keeping? What are we giving away? What is pure rubbish? What is something that you have been holding on to? I guarantee every person will raise their hand that you're holding on to, taking up space in your home that you plan on giving to somebody else. Anybody have anything in their home that they have been holding on to, planning to give to somebody else? It's very common. Get it into your car. Tell them to come and get it. Give them a timeline. Timelines are super important with moving forward with decluttering. Making lists of things that require special attention. For example, that hutch, that big piece of furniture that is going to require somebody other than you moving it out of the home, right? Do we need a mover? Do we need a cleaner? Do you have any kind of hazardous wastes, paint, chemicals? Making lists of items that you are going to need help with will help you start realizing what this process is going to be. And enlisting help is essential because you cannot do this by yourself. Your home did not become how it is today overnight. So it's not going to happen overnight. So think about your timeline and making a plan. Enlisting help from caregivers, friends, a professional organizer. That can help you go through your sentimental items as well. Being able to have that memory, perhaps pass the story on to a younger person in your family that can then pass it on to the next generations of your family is important. Having somebody be there to emotionally support you while you grieve those items that you no longer are going to be holding on to. But we know that not all families can work together to do that. So sometimes it is a caregiver or somebody that is not emotionally attached to those items as well can be helpful. So I'm gonna address these 3 different scenarios here with some tips and ideas of how these 3 different scenarios could happen for you. What are some home modifications that you can do? I know Kurt just gave a presentation on that. If you're going to stay in your home. Anyone? Some home modifications? Like, do we need to build a ramp because you have a walker or wheelchair? We want to focus on decluttering pathways, removing trip hazards, possibly installing grab bars, enlarging doorways. Standard doorway is 32 inches. Perhaps you can make it 36 inches for your walker or your wheelchair or whatever assistance you need getting in and out of doors. Adding lighting, sconces in the hallways. Under cabinet lighting is super, super awesome. Whether you're 20 years old, 40 years old, 60 years old, or 80 years old is very helpful. Those are also excellent to have in your closets. If you have a big like linen closets, a lot of times they're deep and they have a deep back to them and you can't see what's in the back. These are great lighting features that can be added to help you. Lowering light switches, even light switches on the walls, bringing them down a couple of feet. If you sit in the same spot all the time watching TV and you have a walker or you're in a wheelchair, it's hard for you to get up and down to turn the lights on and off. Bring the light switches down. If you have a 2-story home and you live upstairs, but you're going to stay in that house, let's think about making the master bedroom downstairs. And then what do we need to do from there? Do we need a walk-in shower? Do we need to add bars, etc.? Maybe even taking doors off of some rooms can be helpful. Why do you even need to open the door? Another one I like to offer a suggestion also is changing out knobs on your cabinetry. If you have a knob that you have to turn, maybe your hands don't work that well anymore and it's easier for you to pull. Space utilization is super important. So you're going to stay in your own home. We need to think about making room for medical equipment, possibly. If you're going to get a hospital bed, you need 2 or 3 feet around it for the bed to be adjustable, as well as for your caretaker or maybe an oxygen tank or your walker or your wheelchair. But thinking about your space utilization before you pick that room that's going to be your room that you're going to live in. And then comfort. We're going to stay home. We need to be comfortable. We need to have things accessible to us that are essential for our daily living. It's important for us to keep our sentimental items close to us. I love shadow boxes. I think they're an excellent way of preserving memories. They don't take up much space. They can be hung on a wall. They're great for trinkets and medals and pins. Hanging on your wall as much as you can is a great way for space to utilize your space and keep your memories. Consider rotating that stuff, changing it up, make 4 or 5 different shadow boxes for 4 or 5 different things that you did, or you're a memory of your grandmother, or whatever it is that you want to keep with you, and swap them out. Christmas time, they get changed out. Easter time, they get changed out. But rotating, keeping your memorabilia and rotating it is important for your mental health and to keep you comfortable in your home. Another scenario is moving to assisted living or a smaller residence. Things that you need to think about are, what is the current space that I'm living in? And where am I going? So your current size versus your new size. What is included in this new place, if anything? Do you need to bring the towels and the linens, the bed, etc.? So find out what do you need to bring with you. Do you need pots and pans? What you need to bring with you is your essentials only, right? Focus on what you need, not what you don't think you need. So often people say, let's do the garage because I haven't used anything in there in a really long time and I know exactly what I want to get rid of, because they know they're not going to use those things anymore. I actually like to go the other direction. What are you using on a daily basis? That has to go with you. Those are things that you absolutely are taking with you. Your toothbrush, your clothes, your daily items, right? Your essential daily items. So look at what you need, not what you don't want. I think multifunctional furniture, when you're moving into a smaller place, is an excellent way to utilize your new space, get things that have more than one function and then doesn't take up a lot of space. Drop leaf tables, lift coffee tables. And then for paper and pictures, which is really hard to let go of, you know, you're getting these subscriptions, these magazines are coming in, you have all your old photos from your family. We tend to not develop too much film anymore, so our photos are getting older, our printed photos, and we are, depending on how you're storing them, they are possibly not going to make it too much longer. I'm sure that you all have opened a box that had pictures in the frame, and now the picture is stuck to the glass, right? And you can't get it off there anymore. So it just stays in that frame forever and ever. Taking pictures of pictures so that you then can scan that picture and keep that picture. Scan the articles that are important to you. I want to talk about storage solutions again. Sorry. Nesting tables are an excellent space saver. Pull them out when you need them. They tuck right back inside of each other. Storage ottomans have dual purpose. Hide-a-beds, convertible chairs that you can sit in and sleep in. Mobile kitchens, mobile islands, you know, that you can put all your stuff in it and you can move it around your house if you needed to. Maybe you're a snacker, you know, you want to have a little something cart that you can take back and forth with you. but more utilizing furniture for more than one purpose can save you some space. This is a Murphy desk. So instead of having that big, huge, bulky desk, we don't need that anymore. Do we need all those drawers and all those cabinets that are in there? We don't need that anymore, right? Another scenario is having your family move in with you, or maybe you're going to move in with your family. What are they bringing to your home? We do not need 2 dining room tables anymore. We do not need 2 sets of pans. Working together as a family to decide where each person's going to have their personal space, because we need to have our own space. And then what are you going to do in the common areas? So working together with your family, what is going to be our common areas? How are we all going to share that space? And then also each person creating their own space where they can have their own items and have a place to go in within the home that they can have their own time. Preparing to merge households would be decluttering each home first based on what you folks have decided that you're going to bring into the one home. Designating areas for each person can create harmony for them, and then your common areas for you folks all to enjoy. So some tips about storage solutions is use creative storage solutions to maximize your space, right? Under bed storage, if you can, is a great place to hide stuff. Vertical shelving, hooks, always go up, right? We don't want anything on the floor because the floor is trip hazard. And we want to have as much space for us to move about our home as possible. So going up is super important. And then how do we not reclutter ourselves? Periodically review your possessions. Keep your clutter in check. And I wasn't going to say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. Stop taking the free bag. I had a client that asked me to help her with her kitchen. I have no space in my kitchen. So I arrive at her home and you can see all of their snackers. So lots of chips and cracker boxes and cookies all on the counter. And there was a basket that was a third smaller than what, I mean, a third size too small. It was overflowing from that basket. There was an air fryer in the corner. And then there was about 13 bottles of wine, maybe between 12 and 14 bottles of wine. And I said, oh, okay, so you're drinkers. Oh, no, we don't drink. Oh, okay. Well, you have all this wine. Oh, they're gifts. People give them to me as gifts. Oh, okay. So why are we taking the gift? Because it was gifted, because she would feel bad if she didn't take the gift. So take the gift if it is bringing value into your life. You can kindly decline the gift. Or if you have to take the gift because you're embarrassed or you don't want to say no to them, and it's a kind gesture, you don't want to hurt feelings. And you know, a lot of people put a lot of thought into giving us gifts often, right? They think that we are gonna love it, that we absolutely need another Honu trinket. Go ahead and take the gift, but don't bring it into your house. Re-gift that bottle of wine immediately to somebody else. Keep a bag or a little box in your car, a bin, really. I have a bin in my car that is for stuff that is not allowed to come into my house. I do not need another lanyard or a pen or a Post-it note packet or a Honu trinket. Get in the habit of doing something on the daily. They say, make your bed. Yes. Keep track of who you're regifting to. That's what she's saying. Don't give them back the gift that they gave you. Setting up some kind of routine on your daily that will help you, even if it's I said, make the bed every day. Open your blinds as soon as you wake up in the morning. When you take off the pajamas, just stick them back in the drawer. Those little things become habits to us and make our daily life more pleasant, right? It just, you pass by your bedroom and you see, oh, the bed is made. Oh, the sun is coming in. Right? It feels good to do those little things. So getting in the habit, laundry's on Tuesday. That's it. Don't worry about it. I gotta do a load. I don't know how much laundry you have. Maybe it's not possible. But getting in the habit of just doing small things will make it not so overwhelming for you. It does not have to be a major task, right? Today, I'm going to clean off the bathroom sink. That's it. And it will feel good the next time you go into the bathroom. Emotional attachments is probably the hardest and toughest thing that we're going to have to deal with when we declutter. You can manage those items with some kind of preservation, scanning, the keepsake boxes. You collect you collect the teacups. You have 47 of them. Pick 9 of your favorite. Get them in one of those shadow boxes and regift the other 35 of them to a family member that would want to have a piece of that as a remembrance of that you collected the teacups. You have 17 grandchildren. Each one gets a teacup. So instead of keeping the whole collection, just keep one piece. And as we all know, especially since the fires, there are a lot of people that are in need of a lot of stuff that I bet you have in your home right now that you are not using, that somebody else could be using. So now just some more tips is starting small, beginning with a small area so that you're not overwhelmed. Focus on manageable tasks, one thing at a time. Single room, single closet, single corner. And complete that task completely before you move on to the next one. Get in a quick win. Make it a very small thing. It doesn't have to be the whole closet. It can just be the top shelf. It can just be the clothes hanging. It can just be the boxes that are on the bottom of your closet, because I know you have them. Clearing a counter gives you a very, very happy feeling to see that counter cleared off. It's a reward for a small task. Avoid the burnout and the overwhelm. Take it slow and steady. Set daily and weekly goals. Doing the small things, creating the checklist, keeping track. How good does it feel when you make a checklist and you get to cross those things off? You make that list, go out and run all your errands, grocery store, post office. As you cross it off, when you get home, feels good. Same thing with the downsizing. Make the list, check it, and give yourself grace. Again, your house did not get like this overnight. 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years. And it's not all yours either. So celebrate your milestones when you do accomplish something. Have that treat. Go get an ice cream. Drink the soda. Have the chocolate, right? Use your own visualization of how you want your space to be. Look at stuff on the internet. Look at magazines. What looks good to you? Let's create it. What color feels good to you? It's not that hard to slap a coat of paint on a wall. One wall. Take off the pictures, have somebody come in and paint that one wall. It will give you a feeling of a new feeling, a refreshing feeling, a happy feeling. Talk to somebody who has done it. How did they do it? How was their process? Talk to your neighbors, your friends, your loved ones, your elders that are still with you. What obstacles did they go through when they were decluttering, moving family in, etc.? So key points to remember. First, downsizing is a personal journey. Each one of you has your own story and your own space. Each process is going to be specific to your needs and your living situation. What works for some doesn't work for everyone, but finding information on how to make it happen can help you in deciding what you're going to do. Seek support from someone that you feel emotionally comfortable with to do this. You cannot do this with someone that is telling you you need to throw everything away. You do not need to throw everything away. You need to have your essential items that you're using on a daily basis and then work out from there of what it is that you'd like to keep and find a way that we can keep it where it is still accessible to you, being stored properly so that those pictures are not stuck to the picture frames anymore, and that you can see your 50, 60 years of things on a rotating basis. Be flexible and open to adjusting your plans. It can be heavy, but again, it can be very empowering and very lightening. Stay on track. Make your lists. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to be with me today. I hope that I have provided you with some insights and practical tips. I'd like to open the floor for any questions if someone has questions. Yes. The question is, are there suggestions of what to do with family photos, loose photos, and framed photos? So framed photos, if you don't have the space to hang them on the wall, is to have them downsized as well. So you're going to get them out of that frame, get it and make it into a smaller photo, and perhaps you can hang a smaller photo on your wall, or it gets part of the scanned photos. So photos was a really big thing in my grandmother's home. Boxes and boxes of photos, 7 children, right? 40 years in that house. So what we did was, the first thing you want to do with photos is get rid of all the fingers and the floor and the ceiling photos, because that's what we used to take pictures of, right? Didn't know what it was until it was developed. So those are automatically out in the garbage. People you don't know, nobody knows who they are anymore. Right? Who was this guy? That's out, right? Separating them by family members, right? This is all one kid's family. This is all another kid's family. Start offloading your photos to the people that are in those photos. Let them enjoy them and pass them on to their next generation. Does that help, Anna? More questions? Okay. Garage sales are an excellent way to get rid of your things. Estate sales, getting your neighborhood together, picking a date, making a timeline. Let's do a block sale. Selling things on the internet. You can find people to do that for you. But you probably could make a lot of money off of the stuff that you have sitting somewhere in your home. Did you have a question, Mikey? Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes. Mm. Yep. Yep. Right, right. So he was saying there was multiple generations of photos that he had in his home, and lots of antique and old frames. And he had a hard time getting rid of the like great grandparents' photos, I believe, because he never knew them. So people say, "Oh, I'm going to clean up before you come over here." And no, I don't want them to clean up before I come. I need to see how they're living in order for me to find solutions of how to help them with the decluttering. So I don't tell you to throw away all of your stuff. If you have space in your home to keep these items, then keep them. The solution for the photos would be to scan them, and then you don't have the physical photo anymore, but you have a disk or you have a thumb drive or you put it on your computer. If you have the space, keep your items, but you want to make sure that you're preserving them correctly. A waterproof box, right? No cardboard, right? Nobody has cardboard in their garage right now, right? Water damage, pests, bugs. You holding on to something for 30, 40 years, and then when you go to open the box, guess what? And then what? We're throwing it away, right? It's held that space for so long, and then we ended up throwing it away. So sure, we hold on to things a lot because we want it to go to somebody that's going to enjoy it or want it like how we did. So her suggestion was that the photos of his grandparents, great grandparents, the black and whites, could possibly be donated to a museum or something. So yes, finding the right fit for the thing that you have is an excellent way to get rid of something, but unfortunately, we don't always have the opportunity, and that takes a lot of time. So for me here on Maui, as a professional organizer, I work with 16 different nonprofits. Everything I take out of people's homes goes back into our community. And that helps with my clients of letting go of the items because they know that it's actually going someplace that somebody could use it or wants it. Mm-hmm.
original 5,000, you know, the 3,000 of them, 2008.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
I think that's worthwhile.
Yes, much less space. So he's saying he has over 5,000 pictures that he was needed to get rid of. And so they were scanned and they were put on discs and they take up a small, or he took pictures of the pictures and then put them on a disc. So 5,000 pictures is definitely a couple boxes down to one single disc or thumb drive or whatever it is. Any other questions? Yes. Yes, exactly. Finding the person. Good. Yes. Yes, excellent. So she's talking about Facebook group called Buy Nothing, Sell Nothing. There's a lot of groups on Facebook that do that kind of thing. Finding the match to make you feel better if you have the time to do that. Yes. It is an illness. It is. No, you cannot. I personally do not work with hoarders because it is a psychological condition. It is a mental illness. But I have been into homes that are borderline, you would say, where you do shimmy down hallways and they have created paths to get through their home. It is hard to even get them to start the process. So dealing with where you're immediately living is always the first place to start in those situations. Okay, well, again, I thank you all for joining us today. I hope that, again, I taught you something about decluttering, or at least giving you something to think about for your next step. Thank you.